me explain something that a lot of people in this country were never taught on purpose. In 1991, during the Gulf War, the U.S. told Iraqi people to rise up against Saddam. Literally, not in a metaphorical fight for democracy way either. President George H.W. Bush went on broadcast aimed at Iraqis and told them, "Take matters into your own hands." And people listened. Shia communities in the south, Kurdish communities in the north, regular families, not soldiers, not militias, everyday people who thought the U.S. was backing them if they stood up. And the moment they did, the U.S. stepped back and left them exposed. At the end of the Gulf War, Iraqis genuinely believed that America would help if they stood up against Saddam. Not because they were naive, but because America said it directly. And by America, I mean Bush. When uprisings broke out across the country and Saddam's regime started losing ground, the U.S. paused its military pressure. No support, no protection, and for sure no follow-through. And that silence is what allowed the next part to happen. When the ceasefire was negotiated, the U.S. agreed that Iraq couldn't use fighter jets, but they didn't restrict helicopters. That decision changed everything. Saddam used these helicopters to crush the uprisings city by city. People were trying to flee on foot while helicopters were firing into crowds. Whole villages in the marshland were destroyed. And by the time the world caught on, about 1 million Kurdish refugees were fleeing into the mountains. Hundreds of thousands of Shia families were displaced. Thousands died from cold, hunger, and exposure. Not just the violence. And the U.S., the same country that told them to rise up, did nothing to stop it. The Kurdish crisis only got U.S. attention once journalists filmed freezing families on mountain passes. After that footage went global, the U.S. launched Operation Provide Comfort, a safe haven for Kurds in the north. That's like busting somebody's lip and then giving them a tissue to dab the blood. What? But of course all of this happened after unimaginable loss. And nothing similar was ever created for the Shia communities in the south. They were left alone and their communities were destroyed. Their wetlands, the Marsh Arabs' homeland, were drained as punishment. And no country stepped in. Years later, when the documents came out and officials were questioned, it became clear. The U.S. never planned to remove Saddam in 1991. They wanted him weakened, not gone. So those uprisings, they were encouraged, but never meant to succeed. And that betrayal shaped everything that came after. Kurdish mistrust of U.S. promises, Shia resentment and political trauma, long-term refugee displacement, the instability that made the 2003 invasion possible. So this is why they don't trust us. Not because they hate freedom, not because they're anti-American, but because they remember exactly what happened when they trusted this country the first time.